My name is Lakshmi, SRILAKSHMI. But my husband will be there at that time. If I am not there in the house or not, my husband will be there. His name is Taraka, TARAKA. 206 979 8002.
We'll connect that to some other place.
Okay then, thank you so much.
Live right now.
Yeah.
Oh, where I can keep this. We can stick this here. Can you put tape on this one?
Why didn't you want tape? Yeah. Just like that. Oh, yeah, if you don't do that,
I hope Anand doesn't mind this. Oh, this will come off easily. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, this should come off easily, isn't it? On the glass? No, we have to keep it charged also. Oh, you want to help me?
Like my hand was literally the like squeeze thingy when they got
Is one of these the camera?
Yeah, yeah.
What did you say? How about this? Prabhu will this weekend. When is that? Okay, you don't find that.
Mother left the tape.
Yeah, why?
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Okay, girls, we need to move this back actually and put all the fruits over there. Come over here. Shivani. No. Tell me, yeah. Yes, what? But I don't know how much it will withstand. No. Okay. No? I have some more.
What is this? You have to go right now?
car the camera view? You can take it off. Oh, you put it. Oh, okay. Here, this thing does this fine. Okay. This is set. Sushara, can you sing something?
Right now?
Yeah, just to test, okay? Testing. Like that.
Sing something. Sit down and sit down.
You know how my
Say Hare, that's it. No, I'm not singing. What do you get in this one? I know, basically, like, yeah, like, what do you have?
cardboard.
ഇപ്പൊ അവിടെ ആ ഒരു ഇതിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോയി ഗരാജിലേക്ക് ഗരാജിനടുത്ത് പ്രഭുജി ഇത് ഹവ ഉണ്ടാക്കി
I don't want to check.
No, Krishna Pirta Mata checked.
Okay. Will you put it back? Take it back or leave it here? You want more cushion?
Yeah, but we need to do this distraction.
Okay. Okay, I'll get that. ये वाला डाल दो. ये अरे चटाई पे.
I'll give it to.
Ata. Raki ki slipper. Yeah, so people can sit there like this.
Yes, people must sit around.
We put there.
Here?
Yes.
Can we put this carpet back? Yeah.
Carpet back?
No, we can't put it back. No, little here so that the oven we can set it up there.
This is your room. Close this door.
This is only there.
No, but there's a wall to be there.
Like 6 months.
Santa Shito
Hare Smile and then he lost him.
Wait. Can I read first then you. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami,
Nice.
who are always engaged in Srimad and they are just like the ocean of God, and their thoughts are
Can you read louder?
and with a reference. It goes
And read slower. I can't understand what you're saying.
because they're not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they're all pleasing to everyone. And they're fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus they're engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls in the mature universe.
Read slowly and loud.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis. Namely, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in
Scrutinizingly.
scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim, I know how to speak, aim of establishing eternally religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter because they are
Absorbed.
in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very much enriched in understanding of Lord Chaitanya, and who are thus expert in narrating his transcendental qualities. They can purify all conditioned souls from reactions of their sinful activities by pouring upon them transcendental songs about Govinda. As such, they are very expert in increasing the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss, and they are the saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of liberation.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who kicked off all association of aristocracy as insignificant. In order to deliver the poor conditioned souls, they accepted lowering platform, treating themselves as mendicants. But they are always merged in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna, and bathe always and repeatedly in the waves of that ocean.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami.
Louder.
Yeah, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in worshiping Radha Krishna in the transcendental land of the Brahmas, where there are beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers, which have under their roots all valuable things. The Goswamis are perfectly competent to bestow what is the
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who are engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a skilled graciousness. In this
these devotional activities. They comfort us with eating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble and chanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of the Lord.
7th class. You read the 7th class, please. Yes, madam. You go for the exam after your husband.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who were sometimes on the banks of Radhakunda Lake or the shores of the Yamuna and sometimes at Vamsivata. There they appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love for Krishna, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies, and they were merged into the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who were chanting very loudly everywhere in Vrindavana, shouting, Queen of Vrindavana, Radharani. O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhana, or are you under the trees on the bank of the Yamuna? Where are you? These were their modes in executing Krishna consciousness.
That's it.
That's it.
Shuddha Bhakta Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Bhakta Seva Parama Siddhi Vimalaki Gora Bhula Devavati Gora Bhula Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Madhavati Bhakti Janani Janani Vana Kohari Sorry. Shita Kamala Kucha Mandala He Gita Mandala He Gita Mandala He Shita Kamala Kucha Mandala He Gita Mandala He Gita Mandala He Kalita Lalita Vanamala Jai Jai Deva Hare Jai Jai Deva Hare Kalita Lalita Vanamala Jai Jai Deva Hare
इसको अभी आपको पता करना पड़ेगा कहाँ इसको रखना है। कहीं आपको रखना है, उधर में रखना है, वो टेबल पे रखना है। हाँ टेबल पे रख दो। ये वाला चार्ज पे रख दो। ये वाला ये चार्ज कनेक्टेड।
Janaka Sutta Kita
Bhushan Hare Jita Dushan Hare Jita Dushan Janaka Sutta Krita Bhushan Hare Jita Dushan Samara Samidada Saruka Jai Jai Deva Hare Jai Jai Deva Hare Samara Samidada Saruka Jai Jai Deva Hare Jai Jai Deva Hare Prabhu Jai Jai Deva Hare Jai Abhinavadaladara Sundara Vedita Mandara Mandara Abhinavadaladara Sundara Shivuka Chandra Chakra Jai who breaks the cycle of repeated birth and death, who swims in the peaceful lake of the sage's heart. O Lord Jayadeva, O Lord Hari, all glories unto you. O Lord, who defeated the poisonous Kaliya serpent, O delight of the people, brilliantly shining sun that causes the lotus flower of the Yadu dynasty to bloom, O Lord Hari, all glories unto you. O killer of the demons Madhu, Mura, and Naraka, O Lord, all glories unto you. O Lord, whose eyes are immaculate lotus, giver of liberation of repeated birth and death, O priceless treasure of the three worlds, O Lord Jayadeva, Lord Hari, all glories unto you. O Lord, who has become the ornament of the daughter of Maharaj Janaka, who is victorious over all wicked demons, who defeated the 10-headed Ravana in battle. O Lord Jayadeva, O Lord Hari, all glories unto you. O Lord, as handsome as a fresh rain cloud, lifter of Govardhan Hill, O Chakora bird, who drinks the moonlight of Radharani's face, O Lord Jayadev, O Lord Hari, all glories unto you. O Lord, we are bowing down before your lotus feet. Oh, please think of us in this way, and kindly grant auspiciousness to us who bow down before you. O Lord Jayadev, O Lord Hari, all glories unto you. This song of the poet Jayadev brings transcendental happiness. It is auspicious, brilliantly effulgent song. O Lord Jayadev, O Lord Hari, all glories unto you. Hari Bol.
Krishna, Krishna
from the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. It's called the Gopi Gitikas. And these are the gopis who are expressing their love for Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam is all about attaining pure love for God. And it's enshrined in these verses. And it says, the gopis said, O beloved, your birth in the land of Vraja has made it exceedingly glorious. And thus Indira, the goddess of fortune, always resides here. It is only for your sake that we, your devoted servants, maintain our lives. We have been searching everywhere for you, so please show yourself to us. O Master of our hearts, we are your priceless servants. O beloved, fulfiller of all our desires. Is it not slaughter on your part to strike us with the rays of your divine eyes, which are more beautiful than the petals of a beautiful lotus in the clear autumn lake? O mighty one, from destruction to the poisonous waters of Yamuna by the demon Aga in the guise of a Kaliya snake, from deluging rains and raging storms, from lightning and from demons, Rishab and Vyom, time and again you have protected us from various types of fears. You are not just the son of Yasoda, but you are the inherent witness in all embodied beings. O eternal companion, in response to the prayer of Brahma, the creator of the universe, you have reincarnated amongst the Yadus to protect the world. O fulfiller of all desires, whoever takes refuge in your lotus feet from the torments of samsara, materialistic world, they become fearless by your protection. O our beloved, the bestower of all boons, do lay your hands on our heads. O destroyer of the miseries of the inhabitants of Raja, your mere smile is enough to shatter false pride of your loved ones. O beloved companion, graciously accept us, your servants. We are fully surrendered at your lotus feet. Show your most beautiful lotus-like face to us. Your lotus feet destroy the sins of those who submit to you. The lotus feet that follow the footsteps of grazing cows, and which are coveted by the goddess of fortune, and which gracefully dance on the hood of Kaliya snake. O Lord, please put your lotus feet on our chests and heart to soothe our burning desire and rid us of the sorrows lurking in our hearts. O Krishna, lotus-eyed one, your speech is so sweet. Every single word, every little sound, every single letter is very charming. Even the most wise and learned get engrossed in it and sacrifice everything for it. After tasting the nectar of the sound of your voice, your faithful gopis are falling in love with you. Now give us the gift of life with the divine nectar from your lips. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations, transmitted by learned sages, eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. By mere listening to them, removes all sins and sufferings and bestows the supreme bliss and welfare as well. Certainly, those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent or most generous. So today we have a ceremony. Okay, now parents have to stay with their kids and keep them quiet. It's unfair for everyone else that they run wild and we're trying to have a serious program here. Actually, they should be brought downstairs. They should be brought downstairs and let them listen also. You can't have a nightclub upstairs and a sun club downstairs. They should all be brought downstairs. So today's program is all about, is non-different from Krishna. It is the incarnation of Krishna in the age of Kali, the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. It's an age where all the politicians are lying and they're arguing that they're not lying. That's called hypocrisy. And therefore, Anand Prabhu and his wife and children are very fortunate because this is like having the deity of Krishna in your house. By regularly reading Bhagavad Gita, you come very close to Krishna. By regularly reading Freud or Marx or Darwin, you go very far away from Krishna. So you have to choose. You want to come close to Krishna, you read Bhagavatam. You want to go away from Krishna, you read Marx, Darwin, and Freud. Freud is actually, he's a fraud. So you have to decide who you want to read, who you want to associate with. If you want to associate directly with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you need Bhagavatam in your house. If you want to associate with every low-class scum in the world, you put a television in your house. That way every scum in the world will come into your house. But if you want to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is the way. And every day you should read at least one verse, like we're going to do now, and learn about your eternal relationship with Him. Now, yeah, all the kids should sit close. Should sit close. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is described by Sukadeva Goswami as pure nectar of immortality, Amrit. If you want to be immortal, you don't need to be frozen by cryonics. It costs a lot of money, $150,000 a year to maintain. And if you can't pay, they turn off your electricity. You don't need to download your brain into a Chinese robot. If you have more money, a Japanese robot. And hope that no hacker in Belarus hacks your robot and you end up in the junkyard. But if you want to attain immortality, you need Amrit. And it's very ironic, in India, alcohol Amrit. So this is the real Amrit. This is the real nectar of immortality. That everybody wants this. Nobody likes to get old, get sick, and die. So if you're interested in finding a solution to this problem of getting old, getting sick, and dying, seeing your parents die, seeing your grandparents die, seeing your children die, seeing this die, this die, this is the way. You don't have to reinvent the wheel in every generation. The real wheel was already invented 5,000 years ago by Vyasadeva when he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the quintessential text of immortality. And in the first canto, first chapter, third verse, Vyasadeva writes, and Sukadeva Goswami quotes it, Nigama kalpatarur galitam pranam. Yes. Actually, it's phalam, right? Yeah, it's a misprint here. Sukamukad amrita gravya samyutam. Pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam. Muhur ahorasika bhuvi babukaha. The Sanskrit is very beautiful, and Sukadeva Goswami is saying, O expert and thoughtful men and women, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literature. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarine juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Now, why does Sukadeva Goswami describe it? Because he is called Sukadeva. Sukadeva is a parrot that has a special beak. And when it touches a fruit with its beak, when it eats a fruit with its beak, the fruit becomes sweeter. Therefore, it's saying, Bhagavatam is already sweet, but when Sukadeva spoke it, 5,000 years, spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit, it became even sweeter. And it's relishable by liberated souls. Why does he say that? Because Sukadeva Goswami, when he was in the womb of his mother, he was already Brahman realized. Therefore, he refused to come out of the womb. He stayed in his mother's womb for 16 years. Imagine that, ladies. 16 years. Why? Because he said, there's no reason for me to go out. I'm already self-sufficient. I'm already self-satisfied. I understand that I am Brahman. Therefore, I'm just as happy in here as I will be outside. I don't have to be. I am prasanatma, completely satisfied. So, what did his father do? Because you have to relieve the mother, right? 16 years in the womb. So the father began to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. And when Sukadeva Goswami heard this, he said, aha, now I have reason to come out. Because now, I will spend the rest of my life reciting Bhagavatam, this immortal nectar of pure Krishna Katha, Hari Katha. This is a reason for me. This is beyond self-satisfaction. This is beyond Brahman realization. In the Bhagavatam it says, Vedanti tat tattva vidas tattva nyāyākana ādvanam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavani satyate. That there are three levels of realization of God. The first is the Brahman effulgence. This is the light coming from the body of God. And that light is reflected off of the sun and comes into the material world, and it's sustaining all life here. Is made up of not just photons or light or atoms of light. It's made up of infinite number of jivas, spirituals like us. That's how you come into the material world. And Sukadeva Goswami was self-satisfied by realizing that. But there's much more besides that. This is what is wrong with the Sharirattvasya of Sankaracharya. Although Sankaracharya is a great devotee, he misled people. Why did he mislead people? Not because he's a cheater. He was ordered to do it by Narayana himself. Why? Because at that time, when he had become Buddhist, and they were following the philosophy of nirvana. So, in order to do that, Buddha, who's also an incarnation of Krishna, but who was obliged to find a strategy to stop the Hindu Brahmins from misusing the Vedic knowledge. 2,500 years ago, the Brahmins in India, and they were performing animal sacrifices without having the power to bring the animal back to life. Previous to the age of Kali, the age in which we're living now, Brahmins could perform their different yagyas, and to prove that they said their mantras correctly, they would insert an old cow into the fire, hold on to the tail, and recite their mantras, take the cow out, rejuvenate it into a young calf. But in Kali Yuga, when they were doing this, they were pulling out a barbecue. And out of embarrassment, they said, oh, this is Mahaprasad, everyone has. I'm like, this was a travesty of the Vedic Dharma. And Buddha came to stop that nonsense. And he said, if this is what the Vedas say, that you can put a cow in and pull out a barbecue, then I reject the Vedas. See? And that was his trick. So he pulled the rug out under the feet of the Brahmins, the false Brahmins. And he established the principle of ahimsa parama dharma, that the highest principle of spirituality is ahimsa, non-violence, not hurting any living entity, especially the cow. You know how dangerous it is to hurt a cow or kill a cow or eat a cow? There's 7 people that will suffer. The person that kills the cow, the person that cuts the cow, the person that sells the cow, the person that transports the cow, the person that cooks the cow, the person that eats the cow. Serves the cow, yes. The waiter, right? Yeah. So all these people have to take as many births as there are hairs on the body of the cow. This is explained in the Manu Samhita. We're not making it up. Manu Samhita, 5th canto or 5th book, verse number 35 to 47. And they have to take as many births as there are hairs on the body of the cow. And each time they have to be slaughtered like that cow. Does that make sense? Is that a good bargain for eating one burger? This is how ignorant people are. This is how ignorant people are. The people that are trying to convince your kids that meat eating is good in public schools. Anybody trying to convince you?
Yes, sometimes they're like high protein. You can get more protein and build muscle.
You should say high death for you. You see how nefarious this modern society is. Everything is backwards. You protect the dog and you kill the cow. The dog is your friend, the cow is your food. It's the opposite. Cow is your best friend, dog is your enemy because he's carnivore. See? Cow is even better than the goats. When the goats eat, they pull the roots up of the grass. When the cow eats, she only eats to a certain level and leaves it like that, and the grass grows back. Everything about the cow is good. Nothing about the dog is good. By the way, now there are many articles coming out. People, before they suppress these articles, now they're not suppressing them anymore. There are people dying because the dog licks their face or hands. The dogs have very virulent bacteria in their saliva. And they're publishing the article. Before they suppressed these articles because they would ruin the Petco and all the dog businesses. Now they don't suppress it anymore. The truth is coming out. Dogs are very dangerous. They have germs. So if you have a dog and you sleep with Rufus in your bed, you are in serious trouble. Serious trouble.
Say that those who keep dog in the home, they go to heaven.
Say that out loud.
I don't know the exact scripture source, but one of the Purana states that those who keep dog in the house, their destination is after leaving the body, they go to heaven.
The other day in one of my classes with kids, Krishna asked me a question. He said, "Is it okay to have a dog as a pet?" Because he wants one, right? Huh?
He has like a soft toy.
Soft toy.
Yeah, he has a soft toy. Which is a he has it since he was a little guy.
Toy dog. Oh yeah, the toy dog. Well, I told him he can buy one of Jeff Bezos' toy robots. I mean, it's not a toy, it's expensive. Dog robot. He has it, yeah. The advantage of it doesn't pass through in Europe. Of course, it could cost you maybe, $10,000. But, you can take it for a walk, and you can pretend to feed it if you want, and you can hug it. I don't know if it licks your face. Actually, when the dog licks your face, the owner is thinking, "Oh, how much my dog loves me." But the dog is thinking, "Oh, one day I will eat you also." I'm not kidding. And there are many times parents have left their little kids home alone with the dog killed the kids. You go on the internet, you'll find many articles like that. Two types of articles. One, the dog licking your hand or your face, you get a very virulent bacteria and you're dead very quickly. Two, or killed the kid. Okay, so in this verse today, it says that previous to this, there are two verses. This is the third verse of the Bhagvatam. It says that the previous two slokas have definitely proved that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the sublime literature which surpasses all other Vedic literatures due to its transcendental quality. That's why there are 18 Puranas. 6 are in the mode of ignorance, 6 are in the mode of passion, and 6 are in the mode of goodness. But Bhagavatam is the superior Purana, because it's Amala Purana. It has no mistakes in it. What are the mistakes that could be in the other Puranas? The mistake is called doing pujas for material benefit. It's called karma kanda. The other Puranas, not that they're bad, but they're for people, because everyone is not in the same level. You have people in ignorance, tamas, you have people in passion, rajas, and you have people in goodness, sattva. So there are Puranas for everybody. This is like, Walmart. You find something for everyone. Because the Vedas are a big tent, and everyone can fit into the tent. The low-class people, the middle-class people, and the high-class. They can all fit in the tent, and the different Puranas are meant to help people gradually elevate to sattva guna and eventually transcendental life, or Visuddha Sattva. However, this Bhagavatam is called Amala Purana because it's meant for people who are serious about using the human birth for self-realization, purifying their hearts of lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Moha. So that their heart can open up, can blossom like a lotus flower to develop love for Radha and Krishna, or Lakshmi Narayana, or Sita Rama. That is the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life, as taught in public schools and middle schools and in colleges, says that the purpose of life is sense gratification. Enjoy your senses. Eat, sleep, be merry, and to do that you need money. To get that money you have to get into IT nowadays and other advanced sciences and work like a dog. You can become a dog in the next life. And make that money and live the comfortable life. But there's no comfortable life. Like one lady came to the temple today and she said, Prabhuji, I want to sponsor the feast. I said, okay, any reason? She said, yes. My father and my sister died in a car accident in South India. I said, oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. And she said, it's very sad, but I'm going to do 3 feasts. 3 of my family members died actually in that car accident, so I'm going to do 1 feast for each one. So, you see, you can have all the money in the world, it's not going to stop birth, old age, disease, and death. Nobody can stop us. And unless we understand there's something wrong with these things, as it said in the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, verse number 8 or 9, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukha Dosa Darsana. That one must learn the fault, the dosa, of birth, old age, disease, and death. One must learn that there's something wrong with this. Most people think it's normal. It's just part of life. It is not part of life. How can it be part of life when it leads to death and old age and disease? Our soul is eternal, but because we're not given knowledge of the soul. Let me ask you a question. In all the time you've gone to school, have they ever explained to you the existence of the soul? No. Did they tell you you came from monkeys?
Yes.
Yes. Does anyone here believe that they have a monkey in their family? Raise your hand. Any of you gentlemen, any of you ladies believe you have a monkey in your family? Now, one girl was here. Is Tulsi here? Is Tulsi here? Okay. Yeah. This morning in the club, well, you were there this morning, right? So, some teacher told you that she, remember?
You have a tailbone, like which came from a long time ago when you used to be on the
Right. Well, don't say you, meaning me. I was never. Okay, so what are the 3 evidences that your teacher tried to convince you that Darwin's theory of evolution is true?
Our thumbs look like ape thumbs.
Our thumb looks like an ape's thumb, right? Okay. And
the tailbone and
teeth.
the
The molar teeth. Okay? So here's a teacher. She's her teacher. In a sense, she's her guru, right? Trying to convince her the dark theory that we come from monkeys. Did I tell you to defeat the Sunday monkey? But don't bring your kids, because then you'll learn too much. And they'll embarrass you. So don't bring your kids. Okay, go ahead. Bhagavad Gita,
Bhagavad Gita,
verse, chapter,
chapter
14, and what verse? Probably That's where it says, Krishna says that he is the seed-giving father of all living entities. He says it should be understood that all Arjuna are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So, this verse says we come from Krishna. Now, what did I tell you about knowledge today? Knowledge depends on which... Knowledge depends on which authority you accept. The teacher accepts the authority of Darwin. Whose authority do we accept? Krishna. And there's book, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Krishna's book says that he is the origin of all species. There are 8,400,000 species of life. You have aquatics, you have reptiles, and fish, you have insects, you have birds, you have mammals, you have humans. So, Krishna is the seed-giving father of all these species. The question is, which authority should these kids accept? Should they accept the authority of Krishna, or should they accept the authority of the teacher who's trying to teach them that Darwin's theory is the origin of everything in life? Which authority should we accept? I didn't hear everybody.
Krishna!
There must be somebody that doesn't accept. Yes. So, which authority do you want your kids to accept? You want your kid one day to come home to you and say, "Hey, dude, I'm not going to listen to anything you say anymore." You want your kid to do that? Or they say, "Oh, Mom, I'm going to be transgender." This is a very serious thing. These kids are being programmed not to be followers of Sanatana Dharma. They're being programmed to be asuras. Asura is someone who rejects the Vedic, rejects the authority of Krishna and Ram and Narayana and so forth, and follows the authority of these nonsense people. So how did I tell you, Tulsi, how did I tell you what to say to the teacher?
You said that
I told you, I said that knowledge depends on which authority you accept. Right?
that Darwin, he gets sick, he gets old and dies.
Yeah, before you say that, now you accept Darwin, we accept Krishna, right? Now, let us compare your authority to our authority. So how do you compare them?
Darwin, he gets sick, he got old and he dies.
Yes.
Krishna never gets sick, he never gets old, he never dies.
He's an eternal youth, right? So, our authority is better than your authority. Your authority is a dead duck, our authority, or a dead monkey. And so why should we follow your authority? You see? This is rational. This is factual. So unless we train our kids, one day you'll see, because they spend prime time in these schools where they're trying to teach the kids to become asuras, they will eventually say, Mom, I don't want to be a Hindu. They'll say that. What do you think, honey? Is that true? Do you know any Indian kids in your school that are like that?
Almost all.
Almost all. And then we're talking about Indian kids, we're not talking about Americans, right? We're talking about Indian kids. You can't differentiate between the Indians and the Americans anymore. Right? Okay? So this is the truth. We're not this stuff. This is the fact. What are parents going to do? That's the question. Nothing. Or something. That's the question. That's why we have a temple. That's why we have regular classes in the temple for parents and children. Parents and children should learn together. You shouldn't just send your kids to these classes. The parents should be sitting right next to them. Why? Because then you have something to talk about with your kid all week long. Because there's homework to do. See? Then you're involved in social education of your child. Otherwise, you pass off that responsibility to people who don't believe in God, to people who are not allowed to talk about God. They're not allowed to talk about God. Right? And don't be surprised if your kid comes home one day and says, I don't think about it anymore. And I believe that there was a big bang. And that's how the world started. If I put a big bang in your kitchen, will that start the construction of your house? See, these are all fallacious, ridiculous theories. They have no substance to them. But they're teaching these things as if it's science. Teaching these things as if it's the truth. What is the end result? People want to dominate. Everybody wants to dominate. The whole idea of the high five. What is the idea behind high five? It's that you have to understand how subtle this is. The high five is to inflate the ego of the child to think that they are. The idea of the high five is to convince the child that yes, with mediocre behavior, you know what mediocre? No, not normal. Less than normal. But the kid becomes convinced that I'm going to be like Jeff Bezos, or I'm going to be like Satya Nadella, or I'm going to be like this one. If I just keep, learning all this junk and nowadays there's no more failure in America. There's still failure in India, but not in America. Everyone's a success. Everyone's a movie star now in America. Say it out loud so everyone can hear.
I can see from my experience, like when I was growing up as a child and going to school, get good grades, and that's the aim of life. Like if you get good grades, you go to college and then you are successful, and that's like.
You can fail.
Yeah, you can fail, but they don't tell you that.
You experience and you're scared. That's why a lot of Indian kids in India commit suicide. Because they couldn't get into IIT or because they failed a semester or something like that, they commit suicide. But here, they puff up artificially the ego of the kids to think that you can do anything and succeed. You can. Just like one kid I met in our free restaurant, and I asked him. I said, "What do you want to do in this life?" He said, "I'm going to get a job in Microsoft." I said, "What are you doing to get a job in Microsoft?" He said, "I'm smoking marijuana." I said, "Do you think you'll get a job by smoking marijuana?" He said, "Oh yeah, for sure." Because like 9/10 of the IT guys smoke marijuana. I said, "But that's no guarantee that if you smoke marijuana, you'll get it to Microsoft." Even if that was true, I said, "It's not true. But even if it was true, there's no doubt, there's no question, there's no certainty that you would get into Microsoft by smoking marijuana." You see how crazy people have become today? Why are there so many Indians and Chinese in IT in the United States? Why? And Russians? Huh?
Because like some people just like think that like Indians have like they study more than Americans and they have a higher like grades and stuff. And
Not only Indians, Chinese.
Chinese.
No, because the American kids are taught by Disney movies, and they're taught by what do you call it, the different television shows and the computer games, that you can get ahead by not doing anything. Or you get ahead by smoking marijuana, or you can get ahead, you can become a rock star, or whatever. They're taught all this nonsense. They're not taught to compete properly. They're not taught to study, and that's why they have to import so many people from outside the country, because they're not being trained. And now the Indian kids who are being trained in the American schools, a lot of them are learning the same nonsense. Yes.
There is that, like a lot of times in school for a class, our teacher will say, I don't want to influence your religious beliefs and all that, but all they're doing is influencing it. They just make sure that the students don't have parents email and all that. So they say ahead of time, oh, we're not trying to influence, but the entire class is on how to influence.
No, it's like this. A thief came into somebody's house, they heard them, and said, "Is someone there?" And the thief said, "No." He said, "Are you a thief?" He said, "No, I'm not a thief." So, "Oh, okay." Alright, so this Bhagvatam is the solution to the problem for everyone. Parents, kids, grandparents, great-grandparents, and future generations. It's the solution. The Bhagavatam is not only a superior literature, but it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. In other words, it is the cream of all Vedic knowledge, or as they say in Sanskrit, the sap is the pure cream or the essence. Considering all this, patient, submissive hearing is definitely essential. That's why I said, bring the kids down. They have to be taught by the parents to patiently and submissively hear. You learn by hearing. It's called Shravanam and then Kirtanam. You hear and then you repeat. You don't scream and run wild and learn anything. You have to learn to be self-controlled, to be patient, and to be submissive. Have a submissive attitude. That's the way the Guru blesses you with knowledge. In school, you don't have to be submissive. But in the Vedic tradition, you have to be submissive. You have to be willing to serve the teacher and offer dakshina at least once a year to the teacher, like that. It might not be money, but it has to be something. It can be fruits, or it can be subsidies or something, but you have to offer something to the teacher, right? Out of respect. And therefore, in other words, it is the cream of all Vedic knowledge. Considering all this, patient and submissive hearing is definitely essential. With great respect and attention, one which should receive the message and lessons imparted by the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I'm going to tell you a real story. There's one boy that comes to our classes Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and for a year and a half he was not interested. He would come, but he was not interested. Every time I'd ask him to do homework, he never did the homework. But just the fact that he came, something changed in the last month. He's become excited and interested now. Now he does his homework. Now he answers the questions. And he's a smart boy. So when I ask him a question, because he's heard, now he can answer the questions right away. So his hand is up all the time. Before he never raised his hand. Before he never did his homework. And before he couldn't wait till the class was over. Now he comes on time. He does his homework. And his hand is always up, ready to answer the questions. You see, that's what happened by Shravana, regular hearing. Eventually, it penetrates the thick skull into the gray matter. Eventually. Maybe not right away. And it's the same for adults also. This regular hearing, it's called Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam. That one should regularly hear, regularly repeat, and then one remembers smarana. So this is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day in the household, you should sit together, say before you eat, or after you eat. Hopefully you sit together when you eat. And read at least one verse, and go over the purport, and give your kids a little bit of homework to do. They're getting so much homework from school, let them get a little bit of homework from school. And then bring them Saturday and Sunday for the children's class. This way, you have a balance between Darwin, Marx, and Freud, between Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasadeva, and Narada Muni. Right? The balance. Okay, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? And you have to ask one question because Tadvidi Paripatena, Paripasena Sevaya, Upadekshami Te Jnana, Jnaninas Tattva Darshana. One should approach a spiritual master with three attitudes. Pranipat, submissiveness. Pranipasena, asking questions submissively, not challenging, submissively. And three, offering seva, offering service. Then a favorable atmosphere is created for an exchange of questions and answers. So ask your question. You can't agree with everything I say. Or you might be something you didn't understand. Okay, Krishna, ask the question. Is that your question? No, but you were there this morning.
Yeah.
So there might be some question you have.
I'll think.
Yes.
So even after
Is that I think or I think? Okay,
it's like even after balancing and all, like you said in our main part, if we notice we start to deviate in some way, and we notice us and our friends or other devotee kids do that, is it like our duty to go tell them or tell ourselves to go do something, or do we just let it go with the families?
Well, if you were swimming and you start drowning, what would you do?
I would call for help or
Go for help. Right. So you should see deviation as drowning. Now, if you don't say anything, you go bloop, 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 and you're done. Right? But if you call out for help to a qualified person, then they can pick you up out of the water. You don't drown. But, if you say, oh, I'm too embarrassed. You're too embarrassed to die? It doesn't make sense. Self-preservation is the first law of human life. So, self-preservation in spiritual life should be your first concern. If you do that, then you will get the help. The help is available. That's why we built the temple. Easily available. You only live a few steps away from the temple, right? So why would you move near the temple? Houses are cheaper than other places. You move near the temple, you're making that sacrifice, so you can be available. So the availability of the spiritual teaching, the spiritual practices, the spirit, it makes Krishna consciousness easily available. So you have the school, which is walking distance from your house, and you have the temple, which is walking distance from your house. So whatever, let's call it the brainwashing you get, the brain damage you get in school, you can get the brainwashing in the temple. But brainwashing is a good thing. It's to wash away all the junk that you learned in the school. Schools are teaching junk, there's no doubt about it. They're teaching kids to believe that the purpose of life is sense gratification, and in order to have more sense gratification, you have to dominate. You have to be better than other people and dominate them and exploit their work so that you make more money and they make less money. Right? That's the whole business. So the rapist, the businessman, the professors. They're all dominators. They dominate people. And they make their money off of people's work. Right? So, you have to decide. What does Lord Chaitanya say? He said, Chinada pi suni chena, arupa pi suna, amani na, amani na, in order to be able to be engaged in spiritual life continually throughout your life, you must be more humble than the grass in the street, more tolerant than the tree, and ready to respect all others, and not seek any honor for the service that you do. In such a state of mind, you can chant Hare Krishna without any obstacle. You can be engaged in spiritual life. Even though you're living in this world, even though you're working, whatever, raising your family, whatever, you will never be affected by the material world. So, rather than dominate, you become submissive. Submissive to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. To Krishna, Guru, and Vaishnava. So that's help. And you have three major channels of help: Krishna, Guru, Siksha Guru, and Vaishnava. So therefore, you have no excuse. You can't say, well, nobody told me. Everyone's telling you. You've put yourself in a position to get that information. Right? Your parents put you in that situation. They chose to buy an expensive house in this neighborhood so that you can easily have access to this. But at the same time, you have the school in the same neighborhood where they're teaching you the opposite. To be a dominator, to be an exploiter, to be a sense gratifier. You see. So, you have to decide which way you're going to go in life. So my advice to everyone is you should decide early on that you want to go to Krishna. And then you organize your whole life to do that. Right? And my point is, why do kids have to go into IT? There are many other ways to make a living. Why not make a living by developing the full supply chain of Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. That should be our theme. Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. That we should protect cows, be good land stewards by having farms, and then business, banking, and the business. And the whole supply chain. There's veterinarians in there, there's also IT in there. Everything is in that supply chain, right? Because the more the society goes to AI, artificial intelligence, the more you're going to lose your jobs. AI is going to take over your jobs. It might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, it might be tomorrow, right? But the people that are going to service the robots, the big industrialists that are exploiting the robots and people, and everybody, they have to eat. They can't eat the robot. They can't eat the microchips, right? So, therefore, if you should go actually around the jump, Vaishya Karma Swabhavajan. That should be our theme. Our kids should go into that industry, into that profession. Right? Not everyone is working and plowing the field. Some people are selling. Some people are the veterinarians. Some people are doing this. Some people are soil management, soil experts. Some people are experts in making compost and this thing and that thing. It's a whole. Like I have some cousins. They came from Iraq. 50 years ago. Over time, they built up a business from scratch, from zero, of building prefabricated houses. So one brother had the construction company. One brother made the prefabricated parts of the house. One brother did all the electrical work. Another brother did the plumbing. They became multimillionaires. They have built whole communities of prefabricated. Prefabricated houses are cheaper than regular houses because it's easier to put them up. And because they manufacture the parts in large quantities, they get it, it's cheaper. And they were doing the whole thing. They had the whole supply chain in their family. You see? Why can't we do that with the farming, which is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita as the way of life for Vaishyas? So think about this. You have to plan for the future. Otherwise the future will swallow you. This is what all the smart guys do. They're planning for the future. They're trying to see what's going to happen in the future, and they want to be ahead of the curve. But they all have to eat. And they're all interested in their health now. Because they say, look, we have all this money. We have to live long enough to enjoy it. We don't want to have these heart attacks and diabetes and kidney dialysis. And we want to be healthy. We want to eat avocados and protein shakes to be healthy so we can enjoy our money. Right? So if you provide that food, that nutrition, it's called nutritional dense food. People will buy it. They'll pay more for it. Just like even now in India now, people are starting to buy organic. Because before, no one gave a hoot about organic. Now, all the wealthy people, they want organic. Is that right? Yeah. Because they want to live longer to enjoy. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop. Huh? I don't have prayers. should write out the supply chain.
Yeah. Well, the tutor says what kind of education they need to know for the steps. You were talking about that in our class also last night. Because in the people go for robotics, everybody wants them to do robotics engineering. Then who's going to create the food?
Many farmers went right
So in villages there is lots of land, nobody after the program.
ओम कलशये मुखे विष्णु पंचरुद्र समन्वितः गंगे जले गोदावरी ओम नरविष्णवे ओम करदूषण दिवे कृष्णा सर्वोदकरा पूजन पूजन पे सत्यवे दुखन पावना कृष्णमेव सर्वत्र प्रतिको जयम प्रदयते प्राची सर्वविघ्ना विनाशनम भगवान विष्णु कलनिधिके दाय मंगलाय तनुहरे विष्णु परमते कृष्ण धर्मरे सर्वविघ्ना विनाशते अष्टसमं ओम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे ओम प्रजापति से ओम संक्रमदे ओम देवता ओम प्रजापति प्रजापति से साक्षी देवता उत्पन्न के मीनोगे सरस्वती ओम नमो तस्या ब्रह्मसवना प्रजापति से ओम देवता त्रिनेशन मीनोगे निरंतर परवासो प्रजापति से ओम देवता ब्रह्मोपस्थापन मीनोगे अवधे सवना शीरा ओम प्रजापति से गति जंदे आदि देवता पुरुषादि पुरुषा वितुपदे अग्न अनंत भी मुखस्य आदिमवि नियोगे ओम पूर्वस्वाहा ओम संस्कार समय Narasingakavacham Sampura Sarvarakshasaram Punyam Sarvabhadravanam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Sarvamokshapradayakam
Vatsalaya Namaha Om Vatsalaya Namaha Om Vaishakasya Prabhutaya Namaha Om Vaishakasya Prabhutaya Namaha Om Saranatata Vatsalaya Namaha Om Saranatata Vatsalaya Namaha Om Udara Kirtine Namaha Om Udara Kirtine Namaha Om Punyatmaya Namaha Om Punyatmaya Namaha Atmaya Namaha Om Atmaya Namaha Chandravitramaya Namaha
sang such a nice bhajan in Bangladesh and the country is now Muslim. Yesterday Ram Mukund was the star, $33. He distributed highest. And Gaurang Chandra started the 7-11 store. So there he can replenish books on a monthly basis. Prabhu got you every week. Twice a week. Prabhu was singing amazing kirtan. Amazing. Our training from Prabhu. Yeah, near the bank we sang. Like we went to the university and we finally parked near the bank and then we sang. It was very good. Even though we had less number of devotees, we distributed equal number of books. Puja didn't come, but we did equal number of books. You know what she did with her? She always cut her finger off. What happens when you stay home? Stay home dangerous. My attacks. It's going to leave the no, it's I'm sitting on it. That's all right. Okay. Put it over here. Oh yeah, put it So normally you put something on top of it.
Cover of the cover is sitting.
Now it take
So I put this and I put something on top.
no.
green table, green chair, white table.
മാച്ച് ചെയ്തതും കറക്റ്റ്.
ആ സെയിം ഹൈറ്റ് ആയിരിക്കും. ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞോ മാറ്റട്ടെ?